G'day Guardians, Roguey here. The last few seasons have seen the meta being heavily dictated by high-cost, high-impact artifact mods. Season of the Splicer had Breach and Clear, a 9-cost class item mod that would apply a 30% damage debuff to bosses or champions when dealing damage with any grenade launcher. This made for incredibly powerful loadouts, abusing the yet-to-be-nerfed Anarchy. You would simply fire off 2 Anarchy shots at either boss or champion, switch to a high DPS weapon of your choice, and melt the target as this 30% debuff applied to all outgoing damage. I remember thinking that this would surely be the most powerful artifact mod we will ever see. How wrong I was. Along came the 6-month-long Season of the Lost, bringing with it a new and even more powerful artifact mod. Particle Deconstruction, a 7-cost class item mod that would apply a stack of Weaken to any target hit with a fusion or linear fusion rifle. Each stack would apply an 8% Weaken debuff, stacking up to 5 times for a total of 40%. Each tick of damage would apply a stack, meaning a burst of fusion rifle bolts would fully apply this debuff, allowing you to then switch over to a linear to make full use of this massive DPS increase. It also didn't help that Vex Mythoclast also received a huge buff and could make full use of this mod. It seemed very likely that this trend would continue, with some even predicting that the artifact's weapon of choice would follow the ritual weapon of the past season, given that we got Breach and Clear the season following Salvage's Salvo and Particle Deconstruction after Null Composure. This obviously wasn't the case, as following Seasons of the Lost Ascendancy rocket launcher, our current artifact doesn't have any rocket amplifying mods. So what is our big meta-defining damage amplification mod of the season? Well, I'll tell you just after this important message. Matt and I wanted to call out that we have put together our very own Discord server. It is still under construction, but we are constantly updating it and we'll be using it more and more for channel notifications, giveaways, and even raid nights. You can find a link in the description. I will also be giving out a Follow the Light emblem code to one lucky subscriber who leaves a comment on this video sharing what their favorite build/loadout has been for Season of the Risen. Winners will be drawn in a week's time. Now, where were we? That's right. What is our big meta-defining damage amplification mod this season? Honestly, nothing. Suppressive Darkness is the closest thing we have, a 7-cost class item mod that applies the Weaken effect, a 15% debuff to suppress targets, and that's it. Compare this to Particle Deconstruction, which for the same cost would apply a 40% debuff. Now, this is also the first season we've had the ability to unlock every single mod in the artifact, so I was kind of expecting an overall power decrease in the power that we gained through our artifact. It also leans heavily into the Void 3.0 keywords, and I fully expect the next season's artifact to do the same for whichever subclass comes out. Suppressive Darkness is not the only mod in the seasonal artifact that amplifies the suppression effect though. We also have Energy Vampirism, giving us energy to our least charged ability when we apply suppression, and Suppression Mastery, increasing the duration of our suppression effects. Now, both of these mods are for our class item and also come in at a 3 cost, meaning we can only pick one of them to run with Suppressive Darkness. With all these buffs dedicated to the suppression effect, I figured there must be some strong builds that we can put together. The first thing we need to consider is how are we applying suppression. The most obvious way is through the Suppressor Grenade. Once exclusive to the Titan, is now on demand for each of the classes. At 100 Discipline, this puts it at about a 47-second cooldown, combined with Energy Vampirism makes for a pretty reliable option. We also have Suppressive Glaive. Unfortunately though, it is a 4-cost class item mod, meaning that we cannot apply it and Suppressive Darkness at the same time. As for class-specific ways, only the Titan's Shield Bash melee ability will apply the suppression effect, which at 100 strength is down to a 35-second cooldown. Both Warlock and Hunter must only rely upon the grenade. That can't be right though. Only 3 different ways to apply suppression and benefit from this season's high cost DPS mod? Well, there are 2 more ways to apply suppression, but unfortunately they are stuck in the past, and while indeed apply suppression, it appears to be the old version and does not synergize with any of our Artefact mods or Void 3.0 fragments. The first of the 2 being Cellular Suppression, a 4-cost Void Warmind Cell mod that applies suppression to all targets hit by the Warmind Cell's explosion. It's a real shame that this mod cannot apply Suppressive Darkness or Energy Vampirism, as it would have been a great excuse for us to run Warmind Cells again. Being able to shut down an entire room of enemies, weakening them in the process and refunding energy to our least charged ability. It also wouldn't be the first time we've seen Warminds being brought back into the meta thanks to a seasonal mod. Back in Season of the Splicer, we had access to Warmind's Decree and Hammer of the Warmind, which, in a sense, did relatively the same thing that we were hoping to achieve here today. The other way to apply the outdated version of suppression is through the Hunter exotic leg piece, the Bombardiers. I was so excited when I first had the idea of putting together a suppression build that would apply the effect on each dodge roll. It would synergize perfectly with Energy Vampirism, giving us dodge roll energy back while also proccing Echo of Domineering, reloading our weapon so we can stay on Gambler dodge. Unfortunately, this combination is just not meant to be. The Bombardier's explosive grenade remains lackluster and Suppressive Darkness underutilized. Given we are less than a month away from the new season and Bungie is yet to acknowledge this, the chances of it being fixed are extremely slim. I just hope that, if the rumours are true, and Solar 3.0 is our next subclass, that the burn effect from Bombardiers can synergize with any potential burn-related mods the next seasonal artifact may give us. So just how good is Suppressive Darkness? Not very. Being 7 cost and located in our class item combat slot really limits our options. We can only pair it with 1 additional complementary mod, so having to choose between the energy refund from Vampirism or the suppression duration from Mastery. It also cannot be paired with Suppressive Glaive, once again restricted by its high cost. Maybe if we had a wider range of tools for applying suppression, or its mod cost was reduced to say 3 or 4, it could become a viable option. But when comparing it to past mods mentioned earlier, it pales in comparison. We also have much better alternatives such as Volatile Flow and Font of Might, both coming in at 1 and 2 cost respectively. Regardless, I've been loving pretty much everything that Season of the Risen has brought with it, and I'm looking forward to whatever magic Season 17 has in store for us. I'll see you next time, Guardians.